Dodger fans, buckle up. What I'm about to say is big, like franchise-altering big. We're talking about a move that could completely flip the roster, fill one of the team's biggest weaknesses, and push the Dodgers one giant step closer to doing the impossible: winning a third straight World Series. Here's the bomb. The Dodgers are closing in on bringing in a young star, an elite hitter, consistent, clutch, productive, and someone who has proven he can play solid defense at second base. Yes, second base. The exact position this team has desperately needed to upgrade for 2 straight seasons. We're talking about a guy who hits for high average, drives in runs, plays with confidence, has big league experience despite being young, and whose defensive profile becomes way stronger when he's not stuck at shortstop. A player who would allow Mookie Betts to stay at short, stabilize the infield, fix the lineup balance, and bring in exactly the offensive consistency that the Dodgers were missing at times during the 2025 postseason. And this isn't rumor mill nonsense. This is something the Dodgers are legitimately exploring. Before I drop the name and break down why this move makes all the sense in the world, smash that like button and subscribe right now. We're pushing hard to hit 12,000 subscribers, and you do not want to miss the next few weeks of Dodgers news. Trust me. Alright, let's talk about the all-star infielder the Dodgers are targeting.
I do want to throw out some free agency talk on this one, some trade talk on this one, and there's been a little bit of a buzz for Bichette, and if Bichette could be a potential target for the Dodgers this offseason that no one's talking about. Could the Dodgers say, hey, you got Kyle Tucker, hey, you got Cody Bellinger, but is Bichette the free agent option that you have to consider? And I think there's a lot of factors here. One of them is, where do you stand with Mookie Betts? And first question I'll ask Mookie at spring training, and whenever I get a chance this offseason, actually I'm going for the winter meetings, we can ask Friedman that too, is, hey, what is the plan for Mookie at shortstop? And if Mookie's open to going back to second base or wherever it is, has he scratched that itch? Has Mookie scratched that shortstop itch where he finished third in the Gold Glove voting? There's no doubt about the fact that he accomplished his mission. I mean, think about this. If I'm Mookie, I'm totally fine if he wants to play shortstop next season, because that might be the way that he truly provides value that is remaining on that contract, is by being an above average shortstop. And if you're Mookie, yeah, you definitely kind of had your moments. You definitely had your moments in there, and you definitely kind of put it out there that you wanted to do this and it was your mission. But what if his last play ever at shortstop for the Dodgers was that 6-3 double play to end it? What if that was that, and then you're like, okay, no one will ever doubt me again. They said I couldn't do it, I did it, and now I'm going to play a position that might require a lot less day in and day out effort to prepare to play, and then I can focus on getting back to being the hitter that I've been for most of my career. Because even though he had that really nice stretch where he was hitting like an all-star after the standing ovation on August 4th, where Dodgers fans gave him a standing ovation, they yelled Mookie, 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 and after the game, Mookie talked about how important that was for him and how meaningful that was for him, and it really turned his offensive slump around. Wasn't great in the postseason, did have some moments. Of course, his biggest hit was his 2-run hit that scored the Dodgers' first couple of runs there and got him really going in Game 6 of the World Series. But you look at the duration of that contract. He still owed $235 million through 2032. That's a lot of money. You got a lot of time left with Mookie Betts. You got 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. 7 seasons. And I think at this point, it's a good opportunity to see what is the plan. Is the plan for you to just be a defensive first shortstop? Is the plan for you to play second base and then you can focus on the offense? Do you consider going back to the outfield? But as good as his defense has been throughout his career, a 6-time Gold Glover in right field, I think you make the case he's one of the best defenders ever now, because he's done something that's never been done, and that's be above age 30, transition to a position that never sees guys go and excel at that position. Outside of catcher, shortstop's the toughest defensive position. But here's the truth, though. Here's the truth. As good as Mookie's defense has been throughout his career, as good as it's been, if Mookie Betts had just played this level of defense throughout his career and was an average offensive player, or a slightly above average offensive player, he wouldn't sniff the Hall of Fame. He wouldn't. He would not sniff the Hall of Fame. You look at the year he had last year. He had such a strong finish that you got to give him so much credit for finishing the way that he did. Mookie Betts found a way to be a 104 weighted runs created plus player. So he was 4% above league average, had 3.4 WAR. But what makes Mookie Betts a Hall of Famer, what made him special, is his ability to rake, to get doubles, to hit 30 plus home runs and 40 plus doubles. And I want to see Mookie Betts go back to that Mookie. So my number one question is, does defense play a factor, and how do you get back to being that guy? And if he was open to changing positions, I mean, that's pretty interesting to kind of think about what it could mean for Bo Bichette, because Dave Schoenfield of ESPN, he writes, Dodgers second baseman hit 239 and ranked 24th in the majors in OPS. The offense hit just 233 in the postseason and 213 after the wild card round. The Dodgers hit enough home runs, especially in key moments, to win the World Series, but it was the starting rotation that carried them to the title. The offense is getting older, with Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts now in the post-peak stage of their careers. And the money, with a projected 5-year, $130 million contract, Bichette easily fits into the Dodgers' payroll and still leaves them money to sign a closer. So I've seen projections vary pretty significantly for Bo Bichette. Is he someone that is going to get 5 years, 130? At that price, I think you'll see a lot of teams show some interest in him. I think at the $200+ million price, something like 8 years, $200 million, you're probably going to see a lot less interest. But the good news for him is he bounced back big time from a down year in 2024, where he hit just 225, was 30% below league average. 2025, he was outstanding. I mean, when he was out there, he was 34% above league average. The strikeout rate was the lowest of his career. He didn't have a great walk rate, but it was still close to his career high at 6.4%, a career low chase rate, a career high in contact rates, in balls within the strike zone and pitches off the plate. I mean, he was incredible as a hitter, and the only thing that held him back was the PCL injury that he's had. I mean, he sprained his PCL, and that ended his regular season on September 6th. He didn't play again until the World Series, and he was limping. He was hobbled during the World Series. Did go 8 for 23 in 7 games. Had as many walks as strikeouts, had 4 each. Had that big 3-run home run in Game 7. And, I mean, that definitely, he got picked off. I mean, he just went in there and he was fantastic. So, I look at the defensive side of Bo Bichette as the concern. Offense, we know what he can do. He absolutely rakes. Defensively at shortstop, he's had a couple really rough years, to the point where you're almost wondering if a position change is going to happen sooner or later. He was a second baseman with Andre Jimenez playing shortstop in the World Series, but overall he was a -12 defensive runs saved and a -13 outs above average. So even if it's to be a second baseman, you keep Mookie at short. I think Bo Bichette, like, I would much rather have Bo Bichette than a lot of other guys out there. And I think the fact is there's no top-end level free agent infielders that you really want to go after, right? So if you want to sign Bo Bichette and trade for an outfielder, trade for a piece, whether it be a Jarren Duran, a Abreu, a Buxton, a Cody Bellinger signing, a Kyle Tucker signing. You could consider a Bo Bichette signing, and then you trade for the outfield piece that you need. I think at the end of the day, it makes the most sense for him to go back to the Blue Jays. He's a very popular player. Him and Vladdy have been the guys that have got that franchise back to the World Series. They have not been shy at all about the fact that they want to continue their careers together. So if I'm the Blue Jays and I'm really playing with the big dogs, I highly consider bringing Bo Bichette back, but I would not be against the signing.
Munetaka Murakami.
Tell us about him, please. Tell us about him.
At 22 years old, Rich, he set the single season record in Nippon professional baseball for home runs hit by a Japanese-born player, breaking a record that Sadaharu had owned since 1964. Murakami has enormous power, the kind of power that dynasties have been built upon. And yet he's got a glaring flaw in that he swings and misses a lot.
Oh,
and
perfect Yankee. That's a perfect Yankee. I mean, honestly, like Cashman's probably going all the way over there to personally, bring him over on the Steinbrenner jet. That sounds like a perfect Yankee, Jeff. Perfect.
It's really interesting to me, Rich. I'm curious to see how this offseason players who have extreme bat-to-ball skills are valued by the industry, considering that the Toronto Blue Jays made the World Series in large part because of their ability to put the bat on the ball.
You bet.
And as a baseball fan, as someone who my whole life I have just adored this game, man, I loved watching the Blue Jays play. What a fun team to watch, not just because of the bat-to-ball, but because they were able to combine that with superior slug as well. It shows the two are not mutually exclusive. If you're hitting the ball, you don't have to hit it soft. You can have your cake and eat it too. And on top of that, the defense that the Blue Jays played, they were just a really fundamentally sound team. And Bo Bichette's return, I think, did him a great service going into free agency this offseason, knowing that he is not at 100% by any means. His knee was messed up. He was out for 7 weeks, and he came back and essentially looked like he hadn't lost a step, playing a position that he hadn't played since when he was in the minor leagues. I mean, it was just a phenomenal performance by him. And his free agency, among Tucker and Framber Valdez and Dylan Cease and Pete Alonso, there are a lot of big names, Alex Bregman. It's going to be a really interesting winter in terms of free agents and seeing where they land. And Bo Bichette, to me, is near the top of the list of those interesting players because our team's going to want him as a shortstop, where he was below average defensively last season. Are they going to move him to second or third base? What does a guy like him, who's, his value is best tied to his ability to hit for average, right? Mm-hmm. And batting average is just not something, generally speaking, that's valued at a high level in Major League Baseball. And yet Bichette's also got slug. He doesn't strike out. There's more to it than batting average, but that's one of those components. It's going to be nice to see it get paid this offseason because I think batting average does still matter.
Of course it does. I'm with you. They were a fun team to watch. You're right, the Blue Jays. So in the few minutes I have left with you here, as we're off and running on the hot stove, the four-letter word in many front offices, Boris. How is he looming, and his clients looming, whether they're free agents or not, Jeff, over the next few weeks?
Well, I think it's going to be the next few months because, Rich, you're used to normal free agency where everything happens in the NFL at one time.
Yes.
I was getting tweets yesterday announce a signing. I was like, you guys don't understand how baseball works, do you? It's going to be a little while until we get the big signings. But Scott Boras, as in every year, has a pretty impressive roster. Alex Bregman, Pete Alonso, a Japanese pitcher named Tatsuya Imai, who you should keep an eye on, because Imai is really interesting to me in that he looks like a Yoshinobu Yamamoto starter kit. They are the same size at 5'11", and yet they both throw gas, topping out at 99 or so. Imai's breaking stuff is very good. He doesn't throw a splitter, quite as much as Yamamoto does, doesn't rely on that, but he has been healthy. He has put up phenomenal numbers in NPB, and he's going to be another guy who's going to be $100+ million pitcher. And it's going to be really interesting to me to see what the market for Japanese players, from Murakami to Amai, Kazuma Okamoto, like there's some real guys who could be coming over this winter, and the market for them is going to be super interesting to me because, all the consternation about the Dodgers and the dynasty that they've built, there are organizations out there and owners especially who just want to chip away at what the Dodgers have. And the Dodgers' advantage in Japan right now is enormous, to the point where we're joking all of them are going to go and sign with the Dodgers at this point. Right. And yet that there are owners right now going to their general managers and saying, we need someone from Japan on this team right now, if only so we can get into this marketplace for down the road when players, more players come over that were in consideration. And sometimes geographical elements factor in heavily. A lot of guys want to stay on the West Coast because of the much shorter flight back home to Japan. Other guys want to go to New York because New York's New York. And it's, you can't argue with that. And yet I think we're going to see some surprising teams this winter in on Japanese players, just trying to get a foothold in that place that has produced as much talent as it has over the last half decade, especially.
Yeah, good luck with multiple MVP in Ohtani and the reigning World Series MVP in Yamamoto saying to anybody, hey, why don't you come here? We're all comfortable. We're all having a good time. Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app, 12 to 3 Eastern.
I want to hear from you. Would you play Bichette at second base right away? Where would you bat him? Leadoff, number 2, or behind Ohtani? Would you commit to an 8-year contract for a player entering his prime? Does this move make the Dodgers the clear three-peat favorites? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. Dodger fans, if this deal happens, we might be looking at the final piece of the three-peat puzzle. So before you leave, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Help us reach 12,000 subscribers. We're growing fast, and you're a part of it. This is Victor with latest Los Angeles Dodgers news. And if the Dodgers bring in Bo Bichette, the entire league is in trouble. Go Dodgers!